Hello, listeners, followers, viewers. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. I kind of get the feeling that I'm going to go probably over 10 minutes, but I will try and keep it to no longer than 12. I did take some notes, excuse me for that, but there's so much territory I want to, points I want to cover that I didn't want to have to create a part 2. So bear with me. So allergies. Allergies I will be discussing include sinusitis, hay fever, rhinitis, anything you're allergic to in regards to nuts, soy, chemicals, alcohol, beer, sun, etc. that cause a physical reaction that you can actually see and experience. So the question is always going to be, when did it start? When was it first triggered? Or is it being triggered, or was it triggered for the first time at a specific event, like a celebration, a wedding, a birthday, that kind of a celebration that may be similar to when the allergy began for the person, your ancestor, whom you are repeating, duplicating. Allergies indicate that something happened years ago, either to you or your ancestor, but to me that applies to anything that is an imbalance. Another question would be, did someone pass away when all of this started? The reaction, something else to consider. Okay, so sinusitis, rhinitis, hay fever. Did you experience an unpleasant, painful situation due to a separation? Separations are always about death, divorce, the loss of a significant other, perhaps even a child, etc. That tends to create the person, or it tends to create a person who's always suspicious because, it involves the nose all the time. That like animals constantly smelling for something to happen or something that doesn't smell right, that kind of thing. It's the truth that we do that. Also, when did it, or for example, if it's triggered during a specific season like spring, summer, etc., what happened during the months of that specific season? Too much sneezing, like in hay fever, would indicate, who are you trying to push away, to drive away, that causes you to sneeze, either in the environment of where the incident occurred or similar incident, or the person in general. Celiac disease. That's usually father-related, or anyone that represents a strong authority. We see that as always being the father, but it could be mother, grandmother, etc. It could also be related to you or your ancestor experiencing hunger, poverty, where there wasn't even any bread. And now when you look at bread, or when you eat bread, you get a reaction because there's gluten in the bread. So that would be, an allergy to gluten. And gluten does tend to represent the father quite a bit. Chemicals I relate to, such as like Clorox, which is the most easiest to remember. So perhaps, for example, the mother worked in an environment where there were a lot of chemicals, like maybe a laundromat, when she was pregnant. Or perhaps the father was employed in a business that has to do with a lot of chemicals. Anything to do related to chemicals being present during the incident that was unpleasant that occurred. Alcohol, wine. I indicated that in the what I'm about to say in the video of addictions. Basically what it means, if you're having an allergy to it, that you're not supposed to be repeating an addiction to it. Smoking, I also indicated in the video of addictions, relates to mother because of the second reflex that we learn to do right away. Beer, There's gluten in the beer, so it represents the authoritative person as the father. So what is your relationship with the father, or your father with the grandfather, etc.? The sun, I indicated in the video regarding the stomach, solar plexus chakra, solar sun, definitely represents the father if you have an allergy to sun. What about when you feel, or times when you feel cold most of the time? Did what you experience occur in the winter in a cold environment or a location where it was very cold? Medications. Did someone pass away that was close to you that required a lot of medications, and now medications trigger that memory in you? Or someone else that triggers the memory in you that consumed a lot of medications that was ill? Dust. Dust, you kind of have to look for that with the mother, the history of the mother first. Perhaps some incident that occurred within a dirty environment, or perhaps someone got bad news while cleaning or dusting the house, would be another example. Bees. What happened during that incident? Were there a lot of bees in the area? Honey related to honey. Perhaps the person loved a lot of honey. That person who created someone close to you that created that memory, or an incident with someone, a situation that involved honey. Metals. Anything related to metals, like, steel, silver, gold, jewelry. Perhaps you yourself or an ancestor worked in environments that involved a lot of steel and metals. That's reminding you of an incident that was not pleasant. The milk, an allergy to milk, of course, the mother, because of breastfeeding. So it always has to do with what is your relationship with your mother? What was your mother's relationship with the grandmother with the great-grandmother, etc. Gloves. Perhaps that triggers, an allergy to gloves triggers a memory and an incident wherein gloves were used, such as surgeries, hospitals, or an incident that involved a person wearing gloves. Asthma means that someone's territory is being invaded, perhaps living in a toxic home, perhaps someone very authoritative, like the mother, the grandfather, the grandmother, the father. But I have also learned that fear lives in the lungs. That also, of course, would create a lot of fears of all different types. So, someone's territory being invaded. Pollutants is in regards to something small, because usually the pollutants in the air are almost invisible or very, very small. This always indicates the unborn children via abortion, miscarriage, etc. Because an allergy, for example, to something small like some type of seed or a fruit that contains a lot of seeds, or nuts, something small like that would represent the unborn children, because it would represent something small it would represent like a small embryo, a small fetus. Skin has everything to do with contact. Don't touch me, or you separated from someone, or somebody passed away and you yearn for contact with them and it's not there anymore, or avoiding contact because of perhaps forced contact that you experienced. This also includes a lot of conflicts with Father, God, the government, anyone that represents authority. Sometimes work, perhaps someone you work with is very irritating, and something about that person or those people that causes some type of an allergy. Now remember that allergies are related to separations, like I said, separations being death, divorce, the loss of a loved one that represents death to someone. A separation always is most of the time experienced, processed as a death to someone. Sexual abuse can be applied to all allergies. I mean, sexual abuse can be applied to a lot of imbalances. Phobias. Phobias, which will more than likely be my next video, they're a mental allergy, not a physical allergy. And you remember in the video about who, the body part that represents who or what. So where is the allergy located? Where is the skin allergy located? Where is the allergy located? That will also tell you or give you a root cause. Anything you give life to, such as your thoughts, will continue to grow. But anything you don't give life to will, of course, die, kind of like a plant. If you don't nurture it, water it, etc., it's going to die. So that which dies, that you don't give any life to, terminates and does not continue. Thank you for listening. Always sharing if you're guided to. I intend that this will help you in some way. And always remember, create a tree, a family tree, so that you can discern. Be well.